trade is the engine that drives the economy in many of the cities in the greater Los Angeles, Long Beach area. Workers, consumers, retailers, local industries, and entire communities depend upon goods movement to maintain modern businesses and up-to-date lifestyles. Southern California has become a critical link in the international supply chain, providing the facilities, labor, and technology to move goods from foreign manufacturing sources to consumers. The prosperity we enjoy today is the culmination of years of hard work building and operating cargo handling facilities, roads, bridges, and rails to support goods movement. The development of this physical infrastructure was vital in making large-scale cargo movement possible. The exponential growth of port activity in the post-war era occurred in response to the growth of economic markets, the needs of a fast-growing consumer demand for imported products, and the introduction of containerization. Southern California became the gateway for the nation's delivery of goods from the rapidly developing industrialized countries of Eastern Asia. Shopping and consumption throughout the United States now depends on shipping products through California. While trade has benefited the local economy, it also has placed burdens on the infrastructure and the communities surrounding the ports, freeways, warehouses, and rail lines. Trade, involving truck and rail traffic, is no longer a local problem just for the area immediately surrounding the harbor. It now affects all of the cities along the freeway corridors serving the ports. Increasing population growth, demands for goods to reach industries, retailers, and consumers quickly and efficiently, and generally worsening traffic congestion combine to make life difficult throughout many parts of California.
Ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are state-of-the-art facilities, extremely modern, designed to move cargo at breakneck speed. The real problem is when the goods exit the terminal, they're squeezed through an old, antiquated, oftentimes dilapidated infrastructure. That impedes the flow of that cargo to regional distribution centers and also ultimately to the customer.
Right now we're at a transition point and we're very concerned about the trucking industry, especially at the port, our ability to deliver the American economy. And the transition we need to make is getting all these stakeholders together and figuring out some solutions. And all of us will be making business changes and incurring cost and making this transition.
Delivery of goods begins and ends with the highways, roads, bridges, and rail lines built to support movement. Many of the roadways supporting this rapidly growing flow of cars, vans, and trucks were built 40 to 50 years ago. 40-plus years later, constant wear and tear, increasing traffic, and natural erosion have taken a tremendous toll on this outdated and insufficient infrastructure.
Specifically, what we are looking at right now at the Port of Long Beach is an improvement on the I-710, the Long Beach Freeway. That is the workhorse of the intermodal system that we have here in the United States right now. It comes off of a ship. 15% of all of the cargo in the United States goes up and down that I-710. 15% of the nation's cargo, not just Southern California's, not just all of California's, but of the nation's cargo. We need major improvements in that infrastructure. We also need improvements on the Gerald Desmond Bridge, which does not have the capacity to handle the growth and trade that we've seen over the last several years and that we'll see in the future.
Just as we've invested millions of dollars in larger ships and in Pier 400, and it has been millions of dollars, I don't know that same commitment has been made on the infrastructure side for both the freeway system and the bridge system. So there's some major concerns that the markets are growing. We need bigger ships. We need bigger facilities. We've done all that. Now the cargo is going to get here, and once it gets outside the gates, what kind of congestion and backlogs do we have? And we have a tremendous amount of that right now.
Trends in traffic patterns and goods flowing to and from ports are going to get worse as growth continues at the expected pace. An overwhelmed infrastructure will become completely untenable in 25 years if action isn't taken to address serious problems related to combined growth in population and growth in trade. Infrastructure problems need to be resolved, involving the provision of massive funding. Additionally, Communities and the federal, state, and local governments will have to commit to the acceptance of growth and its natural consequences.
That type of growth would seem unconscionable to moving product effectively from the harbor into anywhere in the state of California. So something's got to be done to fix that condition, either better utilization of the freeway or modifying the hours that we use the freeway. Something would have to be done.
We all want to see the continued vitality of the ports, the economic growth in jobs, but the communities have a vested stake that they don't disproportionately receive a negative impact that would outweigh someday those economic benefits.
Cities and communities need to take action. Local governments need to collaborate with each other and with state and federal government agencies to provide funding, resources, and direction. Interestingly, in the 1960s, the state of California was able to spend 20% of general fund revenues, or tax dollars, on capital improvement and construction projects. Today, the state spends approximately 2% of its general fund on these kinds of projects. There are also important concerns other than funding where collaboration toward improvement is essential. Labor unions and shipping companies need to work together on procedural and contractual issues, as well as on the development of new technological innovations in order to avoid logistical logjams. Increasing efficiency and generating greater productivity in the entire goods movement system must become common goals and top priorities for all operators in the future.
Many in the ILWU will probably agree with me that because the ports generate tremendous amounts of revenue, and they're really the heartbeat of the economy of the nation, in fact, of the world economy, I would like to see more fiscal responsibility by local, state, and governmental agencies, to free up that money.
The good news is, surrounding cities, local government, and transportation agencies are already working together to solve these problems. However, they cannot do it alone. Future funding will hinge on how well the current infrastructure, both public and private, is being used. Further, the industry as a whole, in and out of the terminal, and both employers and workers will have to make the case to all of the funding agencies that an investment in California infrastructure is a good investment, not just for California, but for the entire country. Environmental concerns must be addressed by industry in ways that protect the health and well-being of citizens affected by air quality, water quality, and toxic chemical runoff.
If the environmental side isn't able to keep pace with the growth, if either get out of balance, I think then the communities will find that quality of life can diminish. But it's definitely a balancing act. You need the jobs, you need the economy, we need cleaner air, we need to have an infrastructure that's adequate to the volumes. It all has to come together. I think that's the challenge. All of that can happen.
Working together through collaboration, all sectors of government, industry, labor, and communities must forge solutions that will foster continued growth, keep jobs in California, and maintain a vigorous economy. What must also be resolved is the building and utilization of a modern infrastructure while preserving a healthy and satisfactory quality of life for all of the residents of the Golden State.